Hey, welcome back to another episode of our weekly live series where we're here every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, talking all things corporate contracts. And now I'm letting y'all into our side of tapping into government contracts, which is going to be super exciting. I do the work that I teach in these lives and work with my clients on. And so as we are moving into the government contract space, we actually have a client that is onboarding and wants to focus on government. But I myself am also doing this as well so that I can begin to refine the tools and, of course, come back and share them with you guys. So today, we are going to be talking about something that should be really relatively simple to implement. I know that a lot of you all may be intimidated or just trying to figure out where you fit in this corporate contract space. And what I'm working to do and what we're doing within the company is really shifting our methods to be super simple, the beginner friendly, the intermediate friendly options, because even if you are a successful entrepreneur in the B2C space, it can be a little daunting to then transition and add a completely new department to your business. So that's the way that I think about this. I don't think of just get a contract here and there just to say, oh, I do corporate contracts. My goal with my clients is to help them build out an entire B2B division of their business, right? Where they have these corporate clients that they have multi-year contracts with, or just deep relationships with, where they're working with different departments. And again, having that consistency in terms of revenue coming in from that particular client. So that's a little different from what most people are talking about as it relates to this, because it's about building relationships. And again, this process does not have to be overly time consuming. It does not have to be, algebra or calculus. It can be very, very simple. And so more content that you'll find here, as well as in our new membership program, is going to be about simple, easy ways that you can start to get some contracts in the door and then begin to build those relationships in order to expand to that entire department. All right. And so before I get into this, I want to kind of make sure we're clear here. Corporate contracts are not for people who are, just trying to figure out what they're doing in business, don't know, their offers, their frameworks. They don't have proven methods. When I say beginner friendly, I mean beginner in the corporate contract space. When I'm talking about as a business owner, you need to have proven frameworks. You need to have references, case studies, testimonials that you've brought people through to get a result. Even if those are things that you did in your corporate career, you need to have those things in place because you're going to need to speak about them. And again, be able to tie the ROI to the results that you've driven in the past. So this is for the experts. This is for the people who know what they do like the back of their hand. They just may not know how to translate it to corporate. And that's an important distinction, because I think that's what holds many of you up, is thinking that I'm not ready for corporate contracts. I'm not ready to work with Kirsten on this. I'm not at a place where I can do corporate contracts. And I want to let some of you know, perhaps you are. And actually what we are still working on in the company, we've got so many exciting things going on, is working on a quiz so that you could really understand for yourself if you are corporate contract ready or not. My inkling from knowing most of you is seeing what you're doing in terms of your expertise and your established business, your frameworks, testimonials. You guys are ready to do corporate contracts. What you may be missing is the strategy and also just a little bit of illumination on how you can reimagine what you do and how you can position it to get an ROI for corporations. And that's what I'm here to help you all do. Okay, so I've talked a lot, and if this is your first time here, which we're always expanding our community, as you can see, my name is Kirsten Allen. I am a corporate contract strategist. I work with experts, entrepreneurs, trainers, coaches to help them package their services and offerings and present it to the B2B or corporate space. The main differentiator that we have with the work that we do is, number one, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are talking about relationships and building out an entire department that does B2B work so that you can have recurring revenue in this particular income stream. It's not a contract here or there. It's not waiting for something to fall in your lap, but it's really about building strategic partnerships that allow your business to have a foundation and sustainability that can help you expand and continue to grow your business in the future. So that's what we're talking about. And number two is really we are data driven. So we are all about how can we turn the work that we're doing into results for you. So we have a 10x goal. When you invest in us, or you invest in our services, not in us because we are not for sale. When you invest in our services, our goal is how can we help you 10x your investment by creating X amount of opportunities in your pipeline. And so what that looks like is some of our programs can range from $5,000 up to $15,000. Our goal is to figure out, okay, with this particular individual, how can we help them create, in the 15K example, $150,000 worth of opportunities this year? That is super simple, y'all. Like that is very simple. And I say that because I come from a background where I had to create $1 million in a quarter, right? And so I understand in doing B2B work just like this, working with universities, governments, things of that nature. And so I know what it takes to create $1 million in a quarter. I surely can create $150,000 of opportunities for a client with an entire year. That's a no-brainer. And so that's our floor. We want to make sure that we create that. And what we are putting into place in the future with our clients is a tracker to ensure that as clients invest in us and they do the work, right? It's all about doing the work. I think so many people are so caught up in ROIs. And again, as I said, I've come from a background, so I know my stuff works. I know that not only can I create the opportunities, but I've closed deals to the tune of millions and hundreds of thousands in the matter of 90 days. So the methods work. The main caveat is you have to do the work. You have to do the things. I have done years of making this simplified for clients, for people who engage with me, but it's all about doing the work. So if you're on the fence or kind of thinking about this, I just want to go ahead and get this out of the way before we get into the content. It requires the work. Even the things that I'm going to share with you today, this is free, right? Free information. I've given people 15 minutes and given them whole strategies. They've gone on to book calls, closed deals, all the things, completely free in 15 minutes. You get about 30 minutes with me here today, and these tips are going to be money-making tips. However, they don't work unless you work it. You don't get an ROI unless you go out and make the investment, not just of finances, but also of time. Super, super important. And I want to be clear on that in case any of you all are thinking about ways to work with me. That is a key requirement in order to be successful in the work that we do. Okay? So think about that and really consider, am I ready to not just do a corporate contract just because I see everyone talking about it? Or do I really want to create sustainability in my business? Do I want to be able to extend my reach to work with hundreds of people in organizations and be able to get on stages if that's your thing, or a virtual stage, teach what I got to teach, leave and get that 5-figure check and continue to build those relationships? Or do I just want to hang out online laughing with people and commenting? Let's be real, right? Which one do we want to do? Because there's always time there, but it's where we're going to focus our time. And I want to be very candid and honest with you guys, because that's going to be the difference between whether you should sit here and listen to this information or any of my information, or continue to find other ways, because it's more than one way to skin a cat, as the old folks would say, to expand your business and to enjoy whatever it is that you want to do in your business. But this right here is for the people that's ready to expand in this particular area and wants to build partnerships with corporations and get that foundation in their business. So if that's you and you're like, oh yeah, like I'm with you. I understand the investment of time. I understand, how this big picture works from the way that I explained it, and I want more of this. Keep going, because we're going to get into it. All right. So why did I always share, what makes this topic come up? Because as I mentioned, I don't write these out. I don't script these out and do all that. No, I speak from whatever's going on in that week. I talk to people every day about this, and I hear their wins from clients. I hear, and see the things that they are going after. I'm in conversations with corporations, whether that's indirectly through my clients or through on behalf of my own company. So there's always something that's like, oh, this is what the people need to know. And so this particular particular topic sparked from a conversation that I actually had with a client yesterday who had an amazing quick win of a small contract with a library in her local area. And it sparked me to think like, whoa, that was really easy. That was a quick strategy that I told her that wasn't even supposed to turn into a contract, yet it did. And then this morning I said, people really need to know about how they can get some quick, easy contracts in the door to build a relationship, maybe through a gateway offer or through something else that is more of a smaller commitment that can actually begin to bridge a relationship and open up doors for the future. So here's the thing. People often will talk about, oh, I want to land, $100,000 contract, or I'm landing these $1 million contracts, all the things. Great. Couple of things that I want to share with you guys that's typically behind that people don't share. Number one, depending on the origin of the contract, like if it's government or, whatever it is that they're stating, may not be $1 million just for them. So that's one thing. I think it's also important because I've been in this space as well. You see people doing these things and you don't know what's behind the curtain. So you're thinking that you're behind or, you couldn't do this. And it's really just a matter of let's look at not diminishing what they did at all, because that's not where I'm going with this. I'm saying that sometimes we put things on a pedestal and feel like we're way down here. Then when we really look back and it's like, oh, it's like this, or this is how you set this up, or, these are some things that were included in it. I could definitely do this. And so we have to, what I want to challenge you all to do, especially those of you who are thinking like, oh, I'm not ready, or, oh, I can't do this. Think about, shift that thinking into how can I? I put a post up yesterday talking about our people who often in times of chaos, we are in a world where it's always something going on. This is nothing new. It's always something one way or another. And there are people who get washed up in the wave. And I said, those are our don't want, shouldn't people. You don't do this. You shouldn't do this. They aren't doing this. It's always not. And then there are people who are in these moments and they're like, well, how? Can, will, do, like their language is more of a solutionist and figuring out in whatever landscape or situation, I'm going to figure out how I can turn this into something great. This is how millionaires think. I've done a lot of studying and reading on just the different mindset shifts around people who are very successful and people who are still stuck in the same old, right? And through that discovery and just thinking in my own life and my own experience, how I've seen, a very stark difference between how the outcome of individuals' lives and how it's tied to their mindset. And the main thing is, if you're someone who's like a will, can do type of person, then you're going to find some type of solution to be able to solve any problem. We're all in the same climate, right? We all live in the same country, got the same 24 hours, unless you're outside of the country. We live in the same world, I should say. And we all wake up and have the same 24 hours a day. So how do more people experience success than others? It's not luck. It's definitely favor, but we all have a level of favor. It's about what are we going to allow to be a blockage for us? And oftentimes, I think many of us are allowing situations because we don't know, because we have the ignorance, for lack of a better word, that we believe we can't do X, Y, and Z. Because we only see this in one way. We're not looking at we're not looking at possibilities. We're looking at this is way up here and I'm way down here. And so I want to challenge you guys to shift yourself. See yourself up here. See yourself as, whatever comes to pass. I just had to tell a client this yesterday. She's like, oh, she's getting on a proposal call. And she said, I really don't have this yet. And I said, look, everything is figure outable. Tell them this. If they go with it, then we're going to figure it out on the back end, right? I'm like, I got you. If we got to, pull this together ourselves, we're going to figure it out. And so in this space is super important for you as well. How can you figure this out? What things or resources can you pull together? How can you have someone in your corner where it's like, hey, This is what they said. I got, a couple of days to figure this out. Who can you get? How can you help me? What resources can you share with me? This is how you get further faster. Everyone wants to do everything alone. I hear these things. Oh, I'm just going to figure it out from this and that and see where I get to. And then a couple of months later, hey, how's it going? Well, I still haven't. So you got to decide. All right. And I haven't even got to the 3 easy ways yet, but it's important to understand these things because in order to make it easy, you have to shift your mindset. If I tell you, here's 3 things that you can do, and all you're saying is how I can and how it won't, and all of these things, doesn't matter. So open your mind, see yourself as someone who can find solutions. If anything, if you don't have any other resources, you have these videos here that you can use. But I definitely advise you to figure out how you can be more solution oriented in this space and figure out how to make it work. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Whew. But it's just some things that I'm seeing, and I want to make sure that you guys don't put roadblocks in a path that's really already open for you. You just imagine that for a second. Imagine like a pathway that's literally like direct. It's just a straight pathway, right? And because all of these mental things in our minds, just imagine like you taking boulders and just putting them in the pathway. It's like already a clear pathway. And then here's the boulder. Oh, I can't. Oh, here's the boulder. Oh, I shouldn't. Oh, I'm not prepared for this. Oh, they're not spending money here. And it's just boulder after boulder after boulder to now it's this complicated road that you have to weave through. And it never was meant to be that. It's a clear path. It's a straight, direct path. We put boulders in place when we are in our heads. Get out of your head and get into action. So let's get into these steps. Number 1, easy ways that you can land a contract this summer. All of these are related to relationships and they're related to getting directly to the source. Now, in my methods, I teach people a more sustainable way so they can move have opportunities in their pipeline. This is the way to think about this as an organization. You should have a pipeline of opportunities, not just one that you're tapping into and hoping that they say yes. You should have multiple at different stages. We used to call them, when I did this full time in my career, we used to call them like low odd opportunities, high odd opportunities, close won, close lost. Like you should have opportunities in various stages in the pipeline at all times. That's how you build a sustainable business. But if we're talking about our favorite word, cash injection, or how I titled this, easy ways to land a contract, it's going to be going directly to the source. So starting local. With this particular client, as I mentioned, she got the contract with a local library through the first thing I'll talk about, which is my market research strategy. So again, the market research is not about a sales call at all. It's really not, which is amazing how it worked that way, because that means it was a very natural conversation and they saw an opportunity and it was like, hey, let's go. So in the market research strategy, how you can use this to be able to land a contract, generally speaking, this was like an anomaly situation where they're like, actually we have something going on, and that's all about being at the right place at the right time, which is why I said we've got to execute. We've got to execute, because sometimes it could be as simple as just being there and they're like, here's an opportunity. There's nobody else. Let's get you in. So start the market research especially if you're new to the space. If you're new to corporate contracts, doing contracts with nonprofits or schools, start with those market research talks. I have a script that I give to clients that guides them through this, but essentially you want to understand what their priorities are and if there's any alignment with what you do, right? So just purely a conversation to gather some information from them. And through that, how you can turn that into an opportunity is once they've given you that information, and I've run this and it's been very successful, is that you can go back and say, well, look, here's what I'm putting together for this, or here's what I have for this. I would love to be able to run this by you and see if it could be an opportunity to do this within your organization. As one of our client, you would be a perfect client for this area based on our discussion. And I would love to set up some time with you to discuss what this could look like for your organization and see if it could be a good fit. Really easy way to, again, you're not being duplicitous or manipulative at all. It's a question, right? And they can say yay or nay. You've done your due diligence. You've had the market research call as you have outlined to them, and you said thank you for your information. And then you just ask a follow-up question if they would like to discuss how this can work in their organization if there is a fit, right? And again, they can say yes or no. You've done what you needed to do. And then if they say yes and there is interest, then there's your first sales call, or there's your next sales call if you've done this before. So using that strategy is very helpful to gather. It works in so many different ways. You gather information to be able to refine your services a little bit better and speak to their needs. And then you also begin to develop a potential pipeline of people that you can move through and close opportunities with. Now, again, it's not going to work with everybody. You may get to the end of the call and maybe they do something completely different and it doesn't make sense. So don't force it. But if you do see an opportunity and you're like, this could be something we could further explore, make the ask, right? It's nothing wrong with making the ask. And that's going to be the biggest thing about this space in general. Don't be afraid. You've got to be confident in what you do. You've got to be confident as an expert to say, hey, I see an opportunity here. Would it be okay if we discuss this a little bit further and see if there's an opportunity where we can support your initiatives, period. So do that market research call, move it, if it makes sense, to a sales opportunity, close the opportunity. The second one is going to be even simpler, and that's going to be to go in person to some of these local organizations, local companies, local nonprofits. Go in person. Again, moving things fast is about having the relationships, and building relationships in person is much easier than trying to build it over multiple emails. So if there's an opportunity, I have another client who just did a VIP day. She has a school or a university that's right in her neighborhood. And one of the strategies that we put into place when we built out her custom marketing during her VIP day was for her to go over there to that school and, ask to speak with the particular decision maker and start to have a discussion. Sometimes we get so caught up in online, and I know I'm all about online, right? Because of all the things. So I'm all about making this easy, doing things online, having processes and systems in place. But sometimes it's good to just go old school with it, especially if you're trying to close something quickly. Like, let's go and have the conversation. Let's go and meet the decision makers. Even if we just say, hey, would love to, take you out to a coffee, or, just pick your brain a little bit more about, I don't like that term. I would love to discuss with you more on your priorities and see how we could potentially partner together. Here's what I do, all the things. I'm actually in the process, so it's no secret, that Chick-fil-A is one of my dream corporate partners that I'm looking to do some work with. And one of the things that I am preparing to do is putting together not proposal, more like a one sheet or like a one sheeter that explains what we will be looking to do with them in a leadership development capacity. And so through that, what I'm actually going to do is just go in person to the location that is nearby that we want to partner with and speak to the, they call them operators, but the owners of the franchise, and have that conversation. I'm about 90% sure that's going to go well. I've already made contact with individuals there and got, hey, when is this person going to be here? Let's have a conversation with them and all of that. So again, I'll keep you guys posted. I want to keep you guys more updated with the things that we're doing so I can show you how easy it is. Like, hey, I just walked in. I had this, already thought this out. I've had some intel. I've been able to do some research on, leadership development, what a good opportunity could be. I've seen that they've actually done programs like this before, not from the headquarters, but just with the individual locations. And I've put together what it looks like, and I'm just going to present it to them and have that conversation rather than emailing, rather than going to the corporate route, which meaning like Chick-fil-A corporate. I'm going to speak with the local restaurants that are in my area. So That's a difference that I want to point out in this example as well. Sometimes you may want to work with these organizations that might be like on the national level. And again, you're just trying to email and find the right person. If you have a local presence in that particular area, go in the place. There was another example that I heard that I want to share here for you guys of someone who did promotional materials. And what they did is they went into a local, like maybe it was Chase or PNC, I think it was PNC, large corporate bank, right? You could easily get on LinkedIn and do some of the strategies that I share and find the decision maker within LinkedIn and reach out to them. This particular person decided to go into a local PNC and they did promotional materials. I think I shared that, and saw that they had like random umbrellas. You've seen this before at hotels or, banks, wherever. They'll have like a set of umbrellas at the door that people can use, to come in and out. And so the person says, hey, I see you have these umbrellas here. We do promotional materials. I think it would be great to have some with your logo on here. And they were like, oh, that's a good idea. Not only did they get the contract to do the umbrellas at that particular bank, but I believe the story was they got the opportunity to provide those promotional umbrellas for all of PNC, just from that local interaction and seeing an opportunity, right? And saying, hey, what about this? Asking the question, putting yourself out there. So again, get out of your head, get into action. Sometimes you might want to get in your car, find a local place that you can speak with, see an opportunity, talk to the person about it, and be able to move that forward. That's actually worked for me more often than not, now that I kind of think about opportunities where I've just been like, hey, can we do this? So considering ways that you can get out into the local spaces, even if it's local branches, restaurants, a local Target, right? And seeing how you can build relationships at that level that may be able to expand, like this person with their promotional materials, into the local opportunities. So I hope that was clear. Go in person to wherever and talk to the decision makers that you're looking to work with, and just have a normal conversation. See if you can recognize an opportunity and move the contract from there. All right. And so the last easy way to land a contract, this is also going to really, again, about the relationships, is tap into the people that you know. And again, you may be thinking like, oh, I don't know. Somebody. Typically, every client that I brought on, whether they have been experienced in corporate contracting or not, we have been able to find at least one person that's in their network that is connected or is a decision maker in the areas that they're looking to do. Y'all are connected to so many people who work within companies or universities or nonprofits or in the government. Let's see how we can get a warm connection to that decision maker, or even if you already know someone who's in a particular decision-making power, get in contact with them and tell them what you have going on and ask them if they would be interested in having a conversation about how you all can work together. Super, super easy. Again, minimizing the back and forth of trying to build rapport. Let's skip to the people who you can already have rapport with. Excuse me. One more. Okay. The people that you already have rapport with, or that you can easily build rapport by making in-person connections. So use your network. Send a text, send an email. Hey, I'm looking to connect with people in career services at universities. I'm looking to connect with HR people who are part of leadership and development. Allergies acting up today. Who can make a connection between these people? Or if you already know someone in this area, hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about X, Y, and Z and see how we can partner together on these initiatives. Again, another client example. I have a client who is in the healthcare space. Now, she has years in this area and thankfully wants to do corporate contracts in this space as well. Need to get a tissue. So with her, I'm like, hey, you already know a lot of these decision makers in this area. Like, just reach out to them and let them know what you're doing. So we've, put together what her packages look like, and, in the market research phase of looking at what budgets they have and things of that nature. And I'm like, this should be an easy sell. You already have these relationships. Even if you don't know the decision maker, you know someone in all of these different institutions that can help you be able to get there. She's involved in like associations, memberships, and things of that nature. So utilize those relationships. If you come from a corporate background and you still got some of those friends in those organizations, tap on them to be able to move these things forward. The key here is to make sure that before you reach out, you've got your ducks in a row. So you know what you're offering, you know what your ROI is, you know how you can tie those things together, and you're ready to move forward from a business foundation standpoint where you've got your contracts, you got your capability statement, you got your insurance. Like those are things that you want to make sure you have in place before you implement any of these strategies, because they're going to move forward fast. And I don't want you, especially if you're not a client of mine and you don't have access to be able to reach out to me where we can just, pull some things together on the back end. If you're doing this on your own, I want to make sure that you do this with the caveat and understanding that you need to be ready to go. So have those things in place. I had someone that I had a conversation with in the DMs that actually was like, hey, do you have a checklist for some of these things? And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. I will put together a quick little checklist as a freebie for contracts, and then also what I'm discovering around government contracts, so corporate and government, that you want to keep in mind and have in your back pocket. So if you want that checklist, comment checklist here in the wherever you're watching this, and then I will make sure once it's ready, we get you that link and you can go ahead and sign up for that. Okay. All righty. So those are our 3 ways. Let me know which way that you are going to implement first as we are moving into really the end of the summer. I would love to see you guys get this process started, one of these options, by the end of next week, right? So take the challenge. If you choose to accept it, say, I'm in, I'm going to use one of these strategies and I'm going to start to get the ball rolling in this. So the first way, schedule a market research call. The second way is going to be to go local in person to a location, a company, a school, whatever your target audience is, have a conversation with the decision maker. And the third way is going to be send a message out to your network and see who can connect you in these spaces. Let me know which one you're going to go with, either 1, 2, or 3, and leave that comment in the section. All right. So give us a 1, 2, or 3 in the comments. And then from there, I'm going to chat with you. I'm going to support you. And I'm going to hold you accountable. I want you to circle back and let us know what the result was of that. So y'all got a few actions. Okay. Take the challenge, then circle back. Let us know how it went for you. All right. Now, as we always do every week, this is the conclusion of the actual training portion. I pray that this was super valuable for you. And I can't wait for those of you who are getting out of your head and getting into action. I can't wait to see what you create just using these 3 steps to be able to, or these 3 ways to be able to land contracts. Now, if you are someone that's like, yes, I not only want to know these things, but I actually want to get support in them, then I want to share with you ways that you can work with me in order to get my support. Now, before y'all go and say, because I've heard people say, I don't know if I'm ready to work with you yet or not. We have many different ways that you can work with us now. We have opened up, we've created some additional services to help meet people where they are. So that ranges from something like a small monthly membership that we have a few members in already, inaugural founding members, all the way up to people who are looking for done for you services. So wherever you may fit on that spectrum or somewhere in between, we can help you be able to navigate this space. And so if you would like to chat a little bit more about what those opportunities look like, and again, you're serious about the execution, not just learning, taking in information and hoping and praying that it works, but you're looking for simplified ways. You're looking for someone that you can tap into when you feel like, hey, I don't know how to make this work, but I'm gonna figure it out. I just need some support. Then we are the place for you. And if you're looking to get that 10x ROI of opportunities, and you're not just looking to pay money, get into things and not get a result, but you're willing to put in the work and you're really willing to measure and be sure that with our help, you're going to get to the goals that you set out for yourself, then we are the company to help clearly demonstrate that for you and work with you until you get to that particular outcome. So what you're going to do if you're interested in learning more about those opportunities, I mean, again, finances should not be any excuse to getting help, because again, we have so many different ways that we can meet you where you are. Go ahead and put in the comments, or actually send me a DM so that we can, have a conversation. Send me a DM that says WWK, which is essentially stands for Work with K. Which we do have a link to that as well that we'll send to you, is our application. So we'll go through that application, make sure that we have some ideas on ways that we can help you. We'll jump on a quick call and then figure out which option is the best fit for you. So that's how it is. It's no pressure to do or purchase anything. We're just trying to figure out what's the best way that we can help you and be able to move you into the right opportunity that's going to help you get to that 10x ROI. That is my goal. If it's not a good fit, I will tell you. I have people that I can refer you to in any areas that may make the best sense for your business. We want people who are prepared, who are ready to do the work, and who are at a level of expertise that translates into corporate. Anything else, we will refer you elsewhere and be very clear and honest about that. That is the value of our company. So if you reach out, don't feel that you're reaching out saying you're swiping your credit card today. You're reaching out to understand if there's an opportunity to work together. And if there is, there is. And if there isn't, we'll send you with the resource. All right. So I look forward to having conversations with you all. Remember to DM me that WWK if you are interested. And then for those of you who are not ready at this time, remember to take one of the challenges that I shared with you today and report back how it works for you. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all soon and see you next week.